time is 3 p.m.
Live now on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. This is Bob's Sunday Soul.
It's time to sit back, relax, and listen to some great radio.
Well, good afternoon. Welcome along to Bob's Sunday Soul here on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. I'm Bob Hutchins with you until 5 o'clock this evening, playing a great mix of soul, northern soul and Motown. Before I start, just want to say a huge thank you to Tommy Gunn and Mike Hollis for the past 4 hours. Cracking shows as always. Well, should we get going? I tell you, I've got pain down one side. Well, I thought I had. Turns out I hurt on the other side. Sydney Barnes, I Hurt on the Other Side, an A-side on Blue Cat Records, also Redbird, came out in April 1966, produced by Jerry Lieber and Mike Stoller, arranged by Mike Stoller, and composed by J.L. Jackson and Sydney Barnes, copyrighted on the 29th of September 1965. It's the Four Chaps, True Lovers. The Four Chaps, True Lovers, released on CO and CE Records from October 1965, composed by Herbert Cohen and Sonny D'Annunzio. You're listening to This is Bob Sunday Soul. Here's the Prophonics, Ain't No Sun. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. That was the Prophonics and Ain't No Sun, B-side to Open Up Your Heart on Davy Paul Records, released in 1969. It was composed by Sylvia Moy, Norman Whitfield and Cornelius Grunt. Although the label actually states Holland, Dozier and Holland. They got the wrong Motown writers for that one. Steve says he prefers the camera facing in the studio the way it is. He can see me better. Well, I'll tell you what, you know, I've discovered after all these years, apparently my best feature is my bum. Yeah, seriously, I was chatting to a group of people the other day, and as I walked away, I could hear them say, "What an arse." Yes. This is Bob Sunday Soul. It's time for this. On this day. So we got a few on this days to tell you about. It's the 22nd of June, and it was on this day in 1953 that British songwriter, producer and DJ Ian Levine was born. During the 80s and 90s he co-wrote and mixed a number of dance pop hits for a variety of artists, including the Pet Shop Boys, Bucks Fizz, Erasure, Kim Wilde, Bronski Beat and Bananarama. He is also known as a moderniser of northern soul music in the UK. Well, that's one way of describing it. He was also born on this day, 22nd of June 1962, British Jamaican R&B and soul singer Ruby Turner, who scored the 1987 UK hit I'd Rather Go Blind. As a session backing vocalist, she has worked with people like Brian Ferry, UB40, Steel Pulse, Steve Winwood, Jules Holland and Mick Jagger. 22nd of June 1963 is the birthday of... No, it's not a birthday. It's when 13-year-old Stevie Wonder first entered the US singles chart as Little Stevie Wonder with Fingertips Part 1 and 2, which featured a young Marvin Gaye on drums. Now, I didn't know that personally. It was the first live non-studio recording to reach number 1 on the Billboard Pop Singles chart in the United States since Johnny Stanley's 1952 comic monologue, It's in the Book. It was on this day, 22nd of June 1968, that the Otis Redding album, Dock of the Bay, went to number 1 in the UK. The posthumously released album and his 6th studio album contained a number of singles and B-sides dating back to 1965. And one of his best-known songs, the posthumous hit, of course, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay. And finally, 22nd of June 1996, the brother of singer Diana Ross, Arthur Ross, and his wife were murdered by suffocation in the basement of their rented Detroit home. The badly decomposed bodies were discovered after a neighbour complained of foul odour coming from the house. 2 men were later charged with murder and robbery. Arthur, of course, was a songwriter, had written songs for Marvin Gaye, The Miracles and Madonna. And we start our tunes in reverse order with a tune that Arthur Ross composed for The Miracles, What Is a Heart Good For?
Across the world. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
There you go, our 5 on this day tracks for June 22nd.
Bob Sunday, so long. Your faith internet radio.
Yeah, we kicked off with The Miracles and What Is a Heart Good For, which was track 1 on the A-side of their album Renaissance, released on Tamla Records in 1973, arranged by James Carmichael, produced by Al Davis and composed by Arthur Ross and Leon Ware. The UK edition came out in the October of 1973. Song number 2, Otis Redding, The Glory of Love, track 1 on the B-side of the Dock of the Bay album, released on Vault Records 23rd of February 1968, produced by Steve Cropper and composed by Billy Hill. The LP debuted on Billboard's Pop and R&B LP charts on the 23rd of March 1968, peaking at number 1 in the R&B chart in a 37-week run, and number 4 on the Billboard Hot 100 during a 42-week run. The album, of course, was also released over here by Stax in June of 1968. Second one then, third one even. Yes, Little Stevie Wonder, Fingertips Part 1, taken from the album The Jazz Soul of Little Stevie, released on Tamla Records in September 1962, composed by Clarence Paul and Henry Cosby. The single version was live, the album version was not. The UK version of the album, released on Stateside Records in April 64. Now, the single was released the following year on Tamla Records on the 21st of May, 63, Part 1 obviously on the A side, Part 2 on the B, and the single version was actually recorded live at the Regal Theatre in Chicago, Illinois in June of 62. Now, for some reason, Oriole American Records here in the UK switched the sides, so Part 2 was the A-side over here, released in August 1963. Ruby Turner, I'd Rather Go Blind, that was an A-side release on Jive Records here in the UK on the 3rd of March 1987, produced by Jonathan Burler and Jolyon Skinner, composed by Billy Foster and Ellington Jordan. It reached number 24 in the UK chart on the 4th of April 1987, staying there for 2 weeks. It spent 8 weeks in the charts, entering at 45 on the 14th of March and finished at 58 on the 2nd of May. And then Chuck Jackson, All Over the World, released on Nightmare Records. Well, Many of Ian's were, weren't they? Produced by Ian Levine, Rick Giannatus and Steve Wagner, arranged by Ian Levine and Nigel Stock of Stock Aitken and Waterman, of course, mixed by Ian Levine and Ralph T, and composed by Ian Levine and Steve Wagner. You're listening to Friday Afternoon Soul. I want to say good afternoon to Ted Jackson in Hornchurch. Good morning to Michael Cortorano in Cleveland, Ohio, and good afternoon to Anne and Steve Coleman, Wendy and Barry Pallett, Mickey G. Have I missed anyone else out? I hope not. And Lardy, of course. Lardy and Helen are there in Loughborough. Here's Ricky Lewis on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Dance all night. That was Ricky Lewis and Dance All Night on the Mercury record label from November 1966, composed by Ricky Lewis, Bobby Robinson and Clyde Atkins. It was copyrighted on the 18th of November 66 by Rich Harvest Music.
Best music on the internet. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
You're listening to Bob Sunday Soul. Welcome along. Out of Detroit, that was the Metros and Push a Little Bit Harder, the B-side. We Still Have Time, released on Boss Records, also in Detroit. And a previous unreleased 1960s track, which came out in 2015, composed by Bobby Croft and Jack Ashford. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
And now, two tunes from 1970 onwards.
Starting with this one from Lolita Holloway.
You know now you say that you're ready for
Sung with such passion, Lolita Holloway, Worn Out and Broken Heart, released on Gold Mind Records in October 1976, produced by Floyd Smith, arranged by Tom Washington and composed by Sam Dees and Sandra Dayton. You're listening to Bob Sunday Soul here on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Up next, our second, it's the Four Tops. Are you with me? The Four Tops there, and Are You With Me, which was the B-side to Indestructible, released on Arista Records in August 1988. Both tracks of that single were taken from the album, also called Indestructible, composed by Bobby Sandstrom and Michael Price, and the UK edition released on Arista in August of 1988. This is Bob Sunday Soul. Welcome along. Good afternoon to Woozle.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Keep the faith in the radio. I've got to move.
So from the Four Tops, we move to the Four Bars. The Four Bars for you.
Get on away from here.
I've Got to Move, B-side to Waiting on the Right Guy, released on Faloo Records in September 1964, arranged by Horace Ott and composed by Eddie Day. Now this group, the Four Bars, were from Washington. I believe there's another Four Bars somewhere in the United States from somewhere else.
The Motown Double Play on Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
Starting with this one from the Stylers, Pushing Up Daisies.
I've got a gal, she's
That was the Stylers and Pushing Up Daisies, the B-side to Going Steady Anniversary, released by Gordy Records 28th of May 1963, composed by Louis Colombo, Harry Boo Ross and Roy Davis, although Roy Davis's name is not on the label, it's just on the copyright from the 30th of April 1962. That's a weird track, isn't it? Monitors and You Share the Blame, taken from their album The Monitors. Sorry, Greetings, We're the Monitors. Track 6 on the B-side, composed by Ronald White and Smokey Robinson. The album issued, believe it or not, in stereo only. Also came out in the UK in June of 1969.
The best music on the best station.
This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
You're listening to Bob Sunday Soul. Welcome along. This is Max Starr. Max Starr and Down by the Waterhole, released on Tuning Records in April 1964. Produced by Bob Ralph, Earl Nelson and Fred Smith, and composed by Julian Brown, copyrighted on the 29th of April. You're listening to Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Going to finish hour 1 with the Falcons, This Heart of Mine.
Live on Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
Welcome back to hour 2. This is the Manhattans getting us underway. I'm the one that love forgot. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. That was the Manhattans on Carnival Records out of New Jersey, and I'm the one that love forgot. B-side is Searching for My Baby, released in March of 1965, composed by Joe Evans and produced by Joe Evans, composed by Edward Bivins.
The best music on the best station.
This is
There you go, that's Richetta Osborne and My Sweet Baby, released on Blue River Records in 1966, composed by Richetta Osborne. Good afternoon to Philip, up in, Philip Jones that is, up in Manchester. Nice to have you along, Philip. Great to see you and Lou the other week at in London. Yeah, had a cracking time.
It's request time.
It is time for requests, and we're going to start with these.
Oh, my old man's a dustman.
It's time for Barry Pallett's requests.
Blimey trousers, and he lives in the council.
This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. That was 3 absolute superb requests from Barry Pallett this afternoon.
For the very best and so northern soul and Motown. Keep that faith, internet radio. Fabulous northern soul. Great Motown. Stunning soul. Keep the faith, internet radio.
So Let's run through the 3 tracks for Barry this afternoon, kicking off with The Emotions and Somebody New, which was released on Twin Stacks Records in March of 1968, arranged by Riley Hampton and composed by Jeanette Hutchinson. There was also a UK release of that on Deep Soul Records on the 3rd of October 1969. And then we had Barbara Lynn and I'll Suffer, which initially was a track from the album Here Is Barbara Lynn, released on Atlantic Records in March of 1968, available in both mono and stereo, produced by Huey P. Mew and composed by Barbara herself. Billboard magazine reviewed the album on the 30th of March. There was no UK issue of that LP originally, and it was then over 3 years later when it came out as a single. When it came out as a single, they added Until Then in brackets in front of I'll Suffer, and it was released by Jetstream Records in June 1971. The national release came out on Atlantic Records also at the end of June, and it was mentioned on the 3rd of July edition of Billboard magazine, and it entered Billboard's R&B chart, reaching number 31. UK edition of the single, that came out on the 24th of September 71. On to the third one. Well, I think that second one is one of my all-time favourite Barbara Lynn tracks anyway, and this is definitely one of my favourite Dee Dee Warwick tracks, Foolish Fool, which was released by Mercury in December 1968 on promo, and the stock copies came out in the January of 69, arranged by Rennie Hall, produced and composed by Ed Townsend. Record Board reviewed it 1st of Feb 69, and on the 15th of February 69, it entered Billboard's R&B chart and entered the Billboard chart a month later. Now the UK issue, that was released on Mercury Records 21st of March 1969, Record Mirror reviewing it 29th of March. Now it was also on an album, came out on an album in, I forgot to put the title down. Oh no, I didn't. The title was called Foolish Fool, the album, and it was track 1, released by Mercury Records in June of 69, debuted on Billboard's R&B album chart on the week of 21st of June, peaking at number 30. There you go. Well, in fact, it peaked at 30 on the 5th of July and stayed in the chart for 5 weeks. No UK edition of that. Now, apparently, Dee Dee didn't initially want to sing that. She referred to it as being unsingable. Now, I don't know whether it's me, but I think Dee Dee was a far better singer than Dion. Just my personal opinion. I think her voice was more similar, obviously, to her cousin and niece. Yes, that's just my opinion. Anyway, back to the music. Here's the Drifters, Mexican Divorce. There you go, the Drifters and Mexican Divorce, which was the B-side to When My Little Girl Is Smiling, released on Atlantic Records in February 62, composed by Bob Hilliard and Burt Bacharach. The backing vocals on that were provided by Doris Troy, Dee Dee Warwick and Dionne Warwick. Followed on nicely from Barry's, didn't it? You're listening to Bob Sunday Soul. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. The Trends and Don't Drop Out of School, released on ABC Records in June 1967, composed and arranged by Johnny Pote. Good afternoon to Dave Bransgrove down in Newquay. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
It's request time.
Watch out. It's the Foxes' threesome, as chosen by Lardy.
Hey baby, something. No,
Well, we don't necessarily get too many, but we do get quality requests on Bob's Sunday Soul. That was 3 from Lardy this afternoon, kicking off with Something's Wrong by Chris Clark, which was a previously unissued track. In fact, it was track 22 on CD2 when it was initially released on the Motown Collection, released by Motown Universal on the 7th of March 2005, a double CD composed by William Mickey Stevenson. It was then eventually reissued on vinyl with the Isley Brothers, My Love Is Your Love, on the other side. Came out by Tamla Motown on the 15th of November 2013, released as part of the Motown 7's box set 534 and 542-5. Second tune, Marv Johnson, I Miss You Baby, in open and closed brackets, especially for Mickey G. Came out on Gordy Records on the 4th of March 1966, produced by Mickey Stevenson, Ivy Joe Hunter and Clarence Paul, and composed by Clarence Paul and Louvel Broadnax. Billboard magazine reviewed it 19th of March, and on the 9th of April it entered Billboard's R&B chart, reaching number 39. Wasn't issued until 1969, 3 years later in the UK. It had Bad Girl on the B-side and came out on the 10th of October 1969. I Miss You Baby reached number 25. On to the third one, and that was Linda Jones and I Just Can't Live My Life, more brackets for Mickey, Without You Babe. Came out on Warner Brothers Records in April 1969, produced and composed by George Kerr. The arranger was Richard T. No original UK issue of that. I think the lads deserve one of these. We'll try that again, and I'll press the right button this time. Well, we have mucked things up in the studio here. I don't know what I've switched off and switched on. Let's get back to the music. Here's Aretha Franklin, Seesaw. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. That was Aretha Franklin and Seesaw from the 1st of November 1968 on Atlantic Records, composed by Don Covey and Steve Cropper. Just want to say good afternoon to Steve and Sue O'Brien. Got some good news to tell you about Soulful Sue. She starts her own show Tuesdays between 6 o'clock and 7 p.m. Starts on Tuesday the 1st of July, and it's called Sue's Classics. Soulful Sue's Classic Hour, to be precise. Show tunes, or show tiles already made. We're all set up, ready for Sue to do her own show. Absolutely delighted that Sue's decided to do that. Can't wait for the first show.
The Motown Double Play on Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
We've got a Miracles double play for you this hour. Yeah, the first of the two Motown tunes from the Miracles. That was Tuesday Beggar, the B-side to Going to a Go-Go, released on the Tamla label on the 6th of December 1965, composed by Smokey Robinson and Warren Moore, released in the UK on Tamla label, Tamla Motown, of course, 4th of Feb, 66.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Keep the Faith Internet Radio.
There you go, our second Miracles tune for the Motown double play, I Like It Like That, released on the Tamla label 3rd of June 1964, produced by Smokey Robinson, who co-composed it with Marv Dublin. Billboard and Cashbox reviewed it 20th of June, and it entered the Billboard Hot 100 on the 27th, 1 week later, reaching number 27. Of course, Claudette was in the group, but she stopped touring in the June of that year. The UK issue, that was on Stateside Records, released on the 14th of August, and New Musical Express reviewed it on that exact same day. So that's Soulful Sue joining us on the 1st of July as a full-time presenter, and hopefully that will inspire Steph. I know Steph works awkward hours, so she's sort of presenter Steph on Dave's shows, but hopefully when she retires she might think about becoming presenter Steph. Who knows? We could do with some more ladies on the station. Here's the Nomads, Have I Got a Right? This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. That was the Nomads and Have I Got a Right? Recorded somewhere around about 1969. That was when Chuck Cockerham's original was recorded as well. Released by Repeat Records in 2004, composed by Fred Tanner.
And now, 2 tunes from 1970 onwards.
Starting with Mary Gresham, I'll Never Let You Walk Alone. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Welcome along. Mary Gresham there from 2009, I'll Never Let You Walk Alone. This is Little Milton and Jackie Ross, I Like Your Loving. That was Jackie Ross and Little Milton, I Like Your Loving. You're listening to
For the very best in soul, not in soul and Motown. Keep the faith, internet radio. Yeah, you listen, Lord and soul, Lord and soul. Raining deep in Motown, Motown, stunning soul, soul, soul. Keep the faith, internet radio.
Palette like that one down in Slough. I Like Your Loving was an A-side on Golden Ear Records from 1980, composed by James Bloomberg, Lee Charles, and somebody called Yancey and a Butler. Yes. Now, I've got an announcement to make about next Sunday. Unfortunately, there is no Bob Sunday Soul next week. I just haven't got time to pre-record one for you. I'm out DJing for Fox Soul Productions in St Albans. We've got an hour to do as part of an event that's going on. They're also streaming in Glastonbury. There's all sorts of things going on at the venue at the Phoenix Club in St Albans, and myself and Alan Fox double-decking for an hour between 12 and 1, so there's just not enough time for me to get back sadly and do a show for you. So no requests needed for next week. I've already pre-recorded Friday's show because I'm working Friday, so if you can get the requests in for 2 weeks time, preferably this coming week at some stage, that would really help me immensely. Okay, back to the music on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Here's Mabel John, Don't Get Caught. Nice little bit of stacks for you to end the show this week. Mabel John, Don't Get Caught, the B-side Able Mabel, released on the 12th of March 1968, composed and produced by David Porter and Isaac Hayes, and you can get it over here, released 24th of May 68 on the same label. Well, sadly, I'm out of time. My thanks to everybody that's tuned in today. Thanks for the great comments on the Mixcloud chat. I really do appreciate it. And yes, I'll be back then in 2 weeks' time for Bob's Sunday Soul here on Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Don't go anywhere though, because we've got 2 fabulous shows coming up. Nutty Buddy's Sunday Smooth Soul Sessions, followed by Mickey G's Strictly Soul on Ice. You've been listening to Bob Sunday Soul. This is Keep the Faith Internet Radio. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. Have a great week, folks, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.
Make me
Bob's Sunday Soul has been a Bob Hutchins radio production for Keep the Faith Internet Radio.